Ooh, boy. New minigame in Varlamore. Mastering Mixology. I bet Jagex cooked with it. Stop me if you've heard this before. You grab a nice, sloppy handful of some raw materials. You put them in the thing. You operate the machine, and boom. You win some magical new form of currency. Quite the novel idea we've come across here in the year of our Lord 2024. Alright guys, a real quick disclosure before we get started. I've played this minigame for probably about like 20 hours or so now. This minigame is not a meta activity to level Herblore if you aren't an Iron Man. At least in my opinion. If I had to sum up this minigame's value in one aspect, it's that you get more experience per herb that you consume during the minigame. As you can see on this chart from the wiki, you're typically getting somewhere around 2 or 3 times the experience per herb used during this minigame as opposed to the traditional sit at the GE and make potions method. This clearly was made with Iron Man mode in mind, because it reduces the amount of herbs you need to efficiently level up. A struggle all people who have ever played Iron Man mode have. It's not faster, it's not more fun, and the only reason I believe non-Iron Men should do this is for the insanely useful rewards. Anyway, that's all I had to say. I'll leave you alone and throw it over to, myself. Mastering Mixology is a relatively simple activity and is the first foray into an Herblore-centric minigame. If you want to do it, here's what you need. A minimum of 60 Herblore, which unlocks the ability to make the first 3 potions of this minigame. You'll get other potions you can make the higher level you are, and I would highly recommend not touching this minigame until you have a few more unlocked outside of the original 3. I'm going to explain why later on, along with a lot of other stuff. That's the only requirement though, which makes this section relatively easy. So let's get into what you should bring. That's definitely one of the better perks of this minigame. You don't need anything aside from cleaned herbs or unfinished potions, which are used as the raw materials needed to play. Obvious tip here, bring whatever is cheaper between the cleaned herb and its unfinished potion. Bringing unfinished potions just honestly wastes a vial of water if it's not cheaper to do so. Now, which herbs you choose to bring depends on you, but there are ones I'd recommend because you get a certain amount of paste for each kind of herb. I'll explain the paste aspect a little bit more later, but for now, here's a chart for the amount of paste you get per herb. As you can see here, Harlander, Torstal, and Snapdragon will give you the most of each of the 3 specific pastes. But obviously, you may want to save some of those herbs for actual useful potions. The chart on the screen breaks down the cost of the herbs per paste pretty well. Obviously, it's subject to change at any given time, but I'd recommend using Lantadime for Aga paste and Quarm for Lye paste. Just because, they're the cheapest option and likely always will be a cheaper option for this minigame, and they're easier to find herbs in the game. You can use whatever you want for Mox paste because honestly it's pretty cheap no matter what. Alright, so that's what you need. Let's talk about mechanics. So, the mechanics for Mastering Mixology. Let's break it down. I went to school for chemical engineering like 100 years ago, so I feel like I'm medically cleared to speak about how to play this minigame. In one sentence, it's pretty easy. Just grind up your herb or unfinished potions into paste using the refiner outside of the minigame room. Deposit the paste into the hopper inside of the minigame room. Mix different kinds of potions by pulling the levers that correspond to each kind of paste. Process the created potions by either homogenizing, crystallizing, or concentrating them. And finally, depositing them onto the conveyor belt. 5 steps, it's pretty easy. Let's break up each step mechanically. First off, we have creating the paste in the refiner. This is self-explanatory. Just take your herbs and throw them into the refiner and you'll receive paste. It will automatically grind the herbs for you, or you can speed it up by clicking the refiner rapidly. I prefer the latter option, but do whatever you want, you motherfucker. A big gripe I have with this is you can't add noted herbs to the refiner, so you're constantly going to have to keep using the relatively convenient bank chest near the refiner if you have a lot of herbs. Just grind down the herbs you want into the paste until you feel comfortable you have enough. After you have your paste, it's time to deposit them into the hopper inside of the minigame room. Again, really self-explanatory. Just dump them in. The hopper can hold a maximum of 3,000 of each kind of paste. It will take you quite a while to use up that 3,000 paste, as each time you use a type of paste by pulling the lever, it only uses 10 units of that paste. And it is only subtracted from your total when you actually grab the finished potion. Meaning if you accidentally pull the wrong lever, you won't lose the paste if you need to fix or remake the ingredients in a certain order. After filling up the hopper with your paste, we get to the actual mechanics of this minigame, which is mixing your potions. This is where it can get a little crazy to explain, guys, so I'm going to try to break it down pretty easily, but it might take a little bit of critical thinking here. So let's take a step back and look at what we have here, because this minigame does come with an HUD on the screen, which shows certain potion orders. These potion orders are extremely important here because they are what drive the minigame. Think like the open altars during Guardians of the Rift. Basically, what you need to do here is make the potions that correlate to the orders on the UI. There will always be 3 named potions along with a symbol next to them. The symbol represents the processing step you need to do in the next step that we'll talk about, and the potion name refers to the potion you need to make during this specific step. Making a potion requires you to pull the lever 3 times in a certain order, with each lever corresponding to a specific type of paste. To determine what the potion requires, you'll need to read the mnemonic clues of the potion names. There's a chart on the wiki that helps you with this, and you can see the mnemonic clues hidden in each potion name. Alco Augmentator is AAA, Marley's Moonlight is MML, Anti-Leech Lotion is ALL, etc. I mean, if you take a quick look at the chart, you'll get the idea. So, a quick pause here. If this sounds very annoying and tiring to you, you are correct. This sucks, man. I hated doing it, and it completely takes the AFK aspect out of any of this. But there is a wonderful workaround, which is the Master Mixology plugin that Runelite has. The plugin provides the combination of paste you need right next to the potion, which is so unbelievably helpful, and if you can use it, you should. It's cute and fun trying to figure out the paste combinations you need the first few times, but not so much after about the 300th time. Either way, you need to make the named potions by pulling the levers in the correct order. If you make a mistake while pulling the levers, you can restart it and it won't cost you anything. Meaning, like if you wanted to make a Mix-a-Lot potions by pulling M, then A, then L, but accidentally pull the M lever twice, you can restart by just pulling the M lever again. The final potion only takes into account the last 3 levers you pulled, which is a nice quality of life thing in this minigame. So make a potion, grab it from the big ass vial, then repeat the process 2 more times. Afterwards, you can move on to the next step, which is processing. After mixing, your potions are almost finished. All you need to do is process them. There are 3 options to process them, which are the 3 workstations that you haven't visited yet. This includes the Retort to the north, Agitator to the west, and the Alembic to the south. The type of process you want to use for each potion is indicated by the orders on the HUD. The cauldron-looking symbol represents the Retort station to the north. The Microsoft Visio-looking thing is the Agitator to the west, and the potion symbol represents the Alembic station to the south. Now, before you start this next step, there are 2 words of caution I absolutely want to highlight in this video. First, when you start using one of the workstations, the process will automatically use the first potion in your inventory. As you guys probably know, items are consumed in your inventory in a specific order, so make sure you are aware of that order. To make it easy, just make sure you create the potions in the order of the potion orders on the HUD. That way they get consumed in order when you're doing this step. A big word salad there, I know, my apologies. Anyway, just make sure you know the order your potions are in your inventory. The other word of caution is analogous to what I just said, because once you start one of these processes and your potion is consumed, you cannot take it back and remove the potion from the workstation, which is really annoying, and I wish Jagex would fix it, but yeah, if you put it in the workstation, you'll either need to finish that process or make a whole new potion and take it to the correct workstation you were supposed to do. And yes, if you do the wrong process for your potion, it will not count towards the order, meaning you'll get less reward points at the end. Really dumb. Anyway, those are the big concerns, so make sure you just understand the path you need to take. The Runelite plugin I mentioned previously also helps with this because it will always highlight the station you need to go to next, which is awesome. Utilize that as well if you want to. So you have your potions, you're going to your station to start processing them. Once you activate the station, the potion will begin processing and will slowly begin to work. The progress will be shown as a bar above the station. Each station can be sped up by clicking at a specific point in time. The retort at the northern station is the most simple. You just spam click it and it will speed up the concentration process. Really, really easy. A word of caution, just be careful, because if you finish the potion and then accidentally click the station after it's done, it's going to begin concentrating the next potion in your inventory. This happened to me quite a lot in the beginning, and I just wanted to fucking end it all. So the agitator station to the west, it will have these fireworks looking things popping out of it at some point during processing. When it does, you need to click it once to gain a large amount of progress. You can click it twice within a couple of game ticks, and it will basically give you another boost and completely finish the processing. Really nice. This is probably my favorite station to use. Just be cautious, because if you click it outside of its fireworks window, you're going to lose a little bit of progress. Finally, the Alembic station to the south. For this station, once you click to start, your character will slowly begin pumping the bellows on the table. After pumping the bellows 5 times, you can click the station to get a one-time boost. This is tricky because you need to count the number of times you pump the bellows. If you misclick it, you'll lose progress just like during the agitator station. The good part of misclicking for this station though is you'll have a chance to click it again. If you do misclick, the count of your character pumping the bellows is basically reset, and after pumping 7 more times, you can click it again to speed up the process one more time. This is by far the worst station in my mind because it requires you to pay attention more so than the other stations. And it just takes the longest amount of time in general. For both the agitator station and the Alembic station, once again the Runelite plugin comes in clutch here. You can set it up to change the outline color when it's time to click for the processing boost, and once again I would highly recommend you use that plugin as much as possible. It completely removes the difficulty out of everything in this minigame and makes it much more AFK. Alrighty, so we've made all 3 of our potions and processed them. The last step is to throw them on the conveyor belt on the west side of the room. Depending on the potions you made in the orders, you'll receive some juicy Herblore XP and some resin for each type of paste you used, which is basically the currency for the rewards for this minigame. So how this works is if you mix and process the 3 potions that were asked in the potion order, it's easy. It'll just take all 3 of them, give you your stuff, and you'll be on your way. If you didn't make all 3 per the order or made one incorrectly, the conveyor will only take the ones that are a part of the order and leave the rest in your inventory if there are any. At which point you can either hold on to that potion and hope you get an order for it later on, or turn it in for reduced rewards. Turning in a potion that was not part of an order gives you about 1/3 of the Herblore XP and only 10 resin of whatever the highest tier paste you used was. This is done obviously to encourage you to play the minigame properly, and it is 100% not viable to just spam make and process a certain potion. You should always go by the potion orders because you'll only get 1/3 of the XP and very reduced resin rewards from this chart if you don't. Every time you turn in a potion, the orders will refresh and change to a new list of 3, so keep that in mind as well. The last mechanic to discuss with this minigame is the Digweed spawn. So in the 4 corners of the room, periodically a Digweed herb will spawn. How often it spawns scales with your Herblore level. Once it does spawn, you have 20 seconds to go pick it up before it dies. Once you have it, you can add the Digweed to any created potion and it will double the amount of experience and resin you get once you turn that potion in. Pretty cool. I would always recommend picking the Digweed if you do see it and get it. We'll talk about what potions you should prioritize putting it in the next section, which is optimization. For a simple minigame, there are a lot of moving parts to mastering mixology, and there are absolutely ways you can optimize this to get the most out of your time. So the rules I'm about to give are being put in a specific order, and you should always follow them in this order. I say that mainly because there's 2 of these rules that are going to kind of contradict each other at times, but I'll explain what I mean. So rule number 1, first off, is an easy one. Always follow the potion orders. This is pretty simple. The reduced XP and resin you get from turning in potions that aren't on an order list makes it incredibly inefficient to ignore. If there is a method where you don't follow the order list that becomes a meta, I have not heard of it or seen it yet. Next, always turn in at least 2 potions at a time. When you do this, you get a 40% boost to your XP and resin. Obviously, you may be thinking here, well, I always have 3 orders at a time, so I'll always do the 3 orders. You would be correct, but that brings us up to optimization tip number 3. Triple letter potions should be ignored or skipped if you can. The 3 triple letter potions are Alco Augmentator, which is AAA, Mammoth Might Mix, which is MMM, and Liplac Liquor, which is LLL. These are the first 3 potions you can make when you hit level 60. They are also the only potions in the minigame that only give you 20 total resin as a reward. All other potions either give you 30 or 60 for the mix-a-lot. As you play this minigame, you're going to see plenty of times where you have either 1, 2, or all 3 of your orders are for triple letter potions. So here's what I would do when that happens. If you have 1 triple letter potion on the order, you should skip it and make the other 2 potions on that order and then turn them in. If you have 2 triple letter potions in the order, make the one that isn't a triple letter potion and only 1 of the triple letter potions. That way you can still get the 40% bonus for turning in multiple potions at once, but don't have to make 2 of the triple letter potions. If you get all 3 triple letter potions, which is annoying as hell, but does happen pretty often, you could do a couple of things. I prefer to make one of the potions and turn it in as quickly as possible just to refresh my order list. I've also seen people make a bunch of dummy potions they leave in their inventory to turn in just to refresh their order list in general. Both of these ideas lead to the same result, and they seem to work pretty well, so do whichever one you want. For this optimization rule, obviously I'm talking mainly to people who have at least 75 Herblore and most of the combination paste potions unlocked. If you're under 75 Herblore, I would ignore this for now, mainly because you're going to be dealing with triple letter potions almost universally throughout the game. The next optimization rule is for Digweed. There is one potion that rules over all the others, the Mixology. It gives you 60 resin, which is at least double of any other potion. You should only use Digweeds on Mix-a-Lots because it is a waste otherwise. Anytime you get a Digweed, I would always hold on to it until you have a Mix-a-Lot order, then add it to the potion. Don't overthink this tip. It's pretty simple. Just save your Digweeds for Mix-a-Lots. I know there are going to be people that say, well, if you're holding on to your Digweed, it will make it so the next one won't spawn, but I still feel you should always save your Digweed specifically for Mix-a-Lots. The last optimization tip is really just a word of caution. So there's this idea I've seen about just turning in non-order potions and trying to bait for Mix-a-Lot potions since they give so much more resin. While this is a good idea, I personally tried this for about 30 minutes and it was terrible. Mix-a-Lot orders are pretty rare in this minigame. They don't pop up extremely often. I found myself churning through potions just to get one to pop up, and it was just so inefficient and insanely annoying. I would stay away from this strategy if I were you. Maybe other people had better luck, but hey man, they can make their own fucking guide on it. Anyway, let's talk rewards. Mastering Mixology has a really good set of insanely helpful rewards. Potion packs, goggles, amulets, shitty cosmetic pieces. Jokes aside, there are 3 major rewards from this minigame everyone should gun for: the prescription goggles, potion storage, and alchemist's amulet. The goggles give you a 10% chance to save a secondary ingredient when making potions, which for anyone who's had a session of just sitting at the GE, just fucking mixing shit while the trolls gargle at each other about, you know, their 8% collection log, no, this is a huge boost. It's super helpful. I'm not going to dig into it. The alchemist's amulet is a rechargeable amulet that basically serves as a boosted amulet of chemistry, giving you a 15% chance to make a 4-dose potion instead of a 5% chance with the amulet of chemistry. Then there's the potion storage, which is basically an add-on to your bank that allows you to store potions separately of your bank and save you some bank space, which is, I guess, it's pretty neat, right? I mean, what else you want me to say? You can also get rich from buying Aldarium to make a goading and prayer regen potions. There's a reagent pouch, which is, I don't know, the Herblore version of a fishing barrel. The rewards here are really good. I'll just say that. It will take you a minute to get enough resin for all of it though, so, you know, strap in. And that's it, man. Mastering Mixology. It's kind of boring, it's very repetitive, and I wish it were viable to help level Herblore faster. But it does give you more bang for your buck for each herb you use, which is obviously like the Iron Man's #1 thing. And the new rewards from it are pretty useful. If you were successful in mastering Mixology, congratulations, friend. Go make your own Breaking Bad sequel. And while you're at it, do me a favor and like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hell, I mean, even leave a comment saying how great I am. It makes a big difference for evergreen content like this one because it shoots straight up to the top of YouTube and Google's recommendations, which makes a big difference, let me tell you. I will also give you a special hug once this is all said and done. Good luck, have fun, and I'll see you on the next one.